999 North Sepulveda Boulevard, El Segundo, California. In 1980, this ordinary commercial office building reportedly housed a secret that lay far beyond earthly geography. Inside, the CIA allegedly operated a Mars jump room. Using a stabilized pneumatic energy field, the device compressed the fabric of space-time around a transit capsule, creating a localized wormhole that bypassed the millions of miles of empty space between Earth and the Red Planet. 10 young adults were selected for this transit, including a 19-year-old operating under his childhood name Barry Soetoro, a young Barack Obama. The training was grueling, and the jumps were brutal. Between 1980 and 1984, the group reportedly reached the Martian surface approximately 40 times, with every explorer stepping out of the capsule suffering from severe, bone-dry dehydration. These jumps served a dual purpose: to assert United States territorial sovereignty over the planet, and to act as informal ambassadors, acclimating native Martian species to a human presence in preparation for future colonization. In 2012, the White House issued a formal, dismissive denial, joking that the president had only been to Mars if watching Marvin the Martian cartoons counted. While scientists dismiss the narrative, the story persists due to epistemic validation. Every successful conspiracy relies on a truth anchor, a verifiable fact. For Pegasus, that anchor is real. Sleuths found declassified military documents stamped top secret code word Pegasus, explicitly discussing commercial office leases. Understanding how public truth fails to kill a myth requires an autopsy of the conspiracy itself, examining how real history is harvested to build a convincing lie. Long before the claims of jump rooms in California, the blueprint for this myth appeared in 1950s Italy. Father Pellegrino Ernei, a Benedictine monk and linguist, became obsessed with the idea that sound never truly perishes. Ernei postulated that historical events leave behind residual visual and auditory energy waves that are permanently imprinted in the environment, decaying but never completely disappearing. The Catholic Church allegedly supported the research, with Pope Pius XII suggesting that capturing these vocal echoes could reinforce humanity's belief in an afterlife. Ernei claimed he assembled 12 world-class scientists, including the Nobel laureate Enrico Fermi, to build the chronovisor, a specialized machine designed to capture and amplify these decaying waves. The machine was exposed as a hoax in 1972. The miraculous photograph of Jesus it allegedly captured was a reversed reproduction of a cheap postcard, and Ernei's transcriptions of ancient Latin plays contained modern grammatical errors. The chronovisor established the template for temporal hoaxes. They blend technical jargon with fabricated physical evidence to create the illusion of scientific legitimacy. The American myth found its first real-world anchor in April 1968. This is the exact month whistleblowers claim their journeys began, and it is also the month the U.S. military launched Operation Pegasus. Led by the 1st Air Cavalry Division, this was a conventional military offensive designed to relieve the siege at Khe Sanh in Vietnam. It was a brutal relief operation, entirely unrelated to teleportation or exotic physics. A second anchor appeared in September 1982, when President Ronald Reagan signed a secret directive establishing a continuity of government initiative to ensure executive survival during a nuclear war. This project involved leasing commercial office spaces across America to serve as emergency communication hubs. Its official classification was Top Secret Code Word Pegasus. As the towers fell on September 11, 2001, the legacy Pegasus plan was briefly reactivated to safeguard the surviving government leadership. Discovering these real, declassified documents regarding commercial leases acts as a confirmation bias. The genuine military record retroactively validates the fantasy of secret teleportation portals in ordinary office buildings. The specific details of alternate dimensions and exotic energy portals have an even more surprising origin. In 1978, Marvel Comics introduced a secret government facility in Marvel 2-in-1 number 42. The base was named Project Pegasus, and its fictional mission was to research unusual forms of energy and house portals to other dimensions. This is narrative migration, a process where pop culture tropes and declassified codenames are subconsciously reassembled by a fragile mind into a self-defending folklore. By wrapping a real military core in absurd comic book claims, the narrative creates a strategic camouflage. The ridiculous details invite public ridicule, which allows believers to dismiss skepticism as part of a government cover-up. We look to the stars and the depths of our history to bridge the gap between where we are and where we have been. The legend of Project Pegasus mirrors our collective human psyche back at us. This myth stems from an innate longing to conquer the irreversible flow of time, to heal the traumas of our past, and to find scientific proof for the things we can only grasp through faith. We traverse time through our memories, grief, and dreams. In these moments, we are already chrononauts, traveling through the history we carry within ourselves. In 2012, a National Security Council spokesperson stood before a crowded briefing room to formally deny that the president had ever teleported to Mars. The statement was a direct response to whistleblowers who alleged that in 1980, the CIA used a pneumatic jump room in El Segundo to send a 19-year-old Barry Soetoro, the young Barack Obama, to a secret military installation on the Martian surface. According to this narrative, a teenager spent the height of the Cold War navigating red canyons and encountering native reptilian humanoids while operating under the alias of a future president. On its face, the claim is absurd. Yet this specific story managed to take root in the public consciousness, surviving for decades across internet forums and fringe communities. Why does a myth this outlandish gain traction? And why does the specific code word Pegasus carry so much weight? This survives through a psychological mechanism called a truth anchor. By wrapping verifiable fact inside impossible fiction, the narrative gains immunity to debunking. Such myths require three foundations: historical precedent, declassified documents providing a paper trail, and pop culture filling the gaps. The first foundation was laid in 1950s Europe, decades before the alleged Mars jumps, where the idea of viewing the past first gained scientific authority. In 1952, a Benedictine monk named Father Pellegrino Ernetti was conducting acoustic experiments when a magnetic tape recorder allegedly captured a ghostly voice. Ernetti claimed the voice belonged to his colleague's deceased father, responding to a plea for help. Pope Pius XII personally validated the discovery, suggesting that these residual vocal echoes were a scientific bridge to the afterlife. Ernetti used this validation to propose a theory of wave attenuation. He argued that every historical event leaves behind energy waves that decay over time but remain imprinted in the environment, waiting to be recovered. Ernetti claimed he led a team of world-class physicists, including Enrico Fermi and Wernher von Braun, to build a device called the chronovisor. He described it as a historical television that could tune into specific coordinates to watch past events unfold on a screen. The chronovisor was eventually exposed as a hoax. Its primary evidence, a photograph of the crucifixion, was proven to be a reversed image of a modern wooden statue from an Italian church. Ernetti's machine didn't work, but it proved people will accept the impossible if presented with the combined weight of religious authority and scientific jargon. This leads to the requirement of epistemic validation. For a conspiracy to survive the Internet age, it must be anchored to real-world, searchable government documents. In April 1968, the same month the whistleblowers claimed their experiments began, the U.S. military launched a massive offensive in Vietnam. Its official name was Operation Pegasus. A more significant anchor appeared in 1982, when President Ronald Reagan signed a directive establishing a secret continuity of government initiative to ensure executive survival during a nuclear war. This project, overseen by Oliver North, involved the military leasing ordinary commercial office spaces across the country to serve as emergency communication hubs. The declassified records confirmed this survival network was designated with a specific classification: Top Secret Code Word Pegasus. While the project was eventually dismantled, its framework was briefly reactivated following the attacks on September 11, 2001. When an amateur researcher searches for code word Pegasus and finds official documents linking it to commercial office leases, it triggers a massive confirmation bias. The boring reality of a radio network is used to retroactively validate the fantasy of a teleportation room. Government documents provided the name and locations, but lacked the specific science fiction imagery of a portal opening underground base. For that, the myth turned to fiction. In 1978, Marvel Comics introduced a secret government facility in Marvel 2-in-1 number 42. It was called Project Pegasus, And in the comics, this base was built to research unusual forms of energy and house portals to other dimensions. This is the result of narrative migration. Childhood comic book tropes, real Cold War jargon, and geographical memories are subconsciously reassembled into a single, distorted reality. The Pegasus story isn't a hidden history. It is a complex, self-defending piece of folklore created by the collision of government classification and human imagination. The myth survives through a process of strategic camouflage. By hiding the mundane reality of a radio network inside an insane lie about Mars, the narrative invites public ridicule. Believers then use that ridicule as evidence of a coordinated government cover-up, making the theory impossible to kill. The persistence of the Pegasus legend reflects a specific human psychological friction, the refusal to accept that history is final. Father Ernetti spent his life searching for a photograph of the past. The whistleblowers spent theirs looking for a gateway in a California office building. They were both attempting to build a machine to fix the traumas of the past and reconnect with what is lost. We do not need pneumatic tubes or Vatican technology to travel through time. Every time we remember, every time we grieve, and every time we hope, we are already sailing across the infinite ocean of the human experience.